Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Alex, what is this curious vista I see before me? Are those your hands? Is that my mother? Well, that is not your mother, that is my desk, but these are my hands. And basically, I'm just going to be doing a load of close-up shots showing you the differences between the SNES Mini controller and the original SNES controller, and this was the most easy way to do it, you know, that didn't require any real editing skill. So, you're stuck with it, so stop complaining. Anyway, I just want to start off by showing you the new SNES Mini controller. Now, to the untrained eye, this would probably just look like a normal SNES controller, and you'd be absolutely right because this is the original SNES controller, and this is the new one here. I just wanted to sort of do that. I don't know entirely why, mainly just to show that the differences between these controllers are so minor that you're really probably not even going to notice. But nevertheless, there are differences, and I do want to talk about them, just because it's an interesting topic of video, or at least I seem to think so anyway. So, very first of all, the finish on the controllers is ever so slightly different. If I angle this around, you can see that this controller on the left, which is the original, is a little bit glossy. I mean, it's not glossy per se, and you know, you wouldn't even be able to get away with calling it glossy at all. It's sort of matte, but sort of satin. And part of this will be wear over the years because this is an old controller. However, this new one is extremely matte. Imagine the Wii U Pro controller and imagine the total opposite. That's basically what this is. Personally, I think I do prefer the feel of the matte controller. It just feels a little bit, I don't know, it feels a little bit more high quality, it just feels a little bit newer. Again, this is aged, so, you know, there's going to be an element of that. And overall, I think it just makes it for a more comfortable premium product, basically. And, yeah, matte is in, so go matte. Including people called Matt. Now, something you might not be able to see on camera, depending on what screen you're looking at and stuff like that, is that the plastic used for the control pad, the D-pad, and even the rubber used on the start and select buttons is a little bit darker on the new one. I don't think this is due to bleaching. I think maybe they're just using a different kind of plastic. Maybe it's a better kind of plastic. Who knows? But also actually thinking about it, I wonder whether this will fade in the same way. Because obviously these used to fade in a terrible yellow way, unless you kept them in a drawer, like Muggins here. Okay, I've had to really zoom in here. Seriously, look how big my fingers look. Ooh, because there is another small difference that I want to show you. In fact, it's probably easiest if I show you like this. I don't know whether you can really tell there, but this is the new controller, this is the SNES Mini controller, and this is the old controller here. Now, the printing on the Super Nintendo logo is ever so slightly lighter as well. It's a different kind of screen printing by the looks of things. And I've no idea why they've done this. Maybe it's a little bit more ingrained into the plastic. To be honest, this one's pretty ingrained. But yeah, it's just a little bit lighter. Again, I said these were minor differences, but you know, I'm gonna say them anyway. Now, in terms of controller feel, honestly, they feel pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is the sort of the matte finish that you have here. And also, actually, now I feel it, I think the new one is ever so slightly lighter as well. Probably because, you know, sort of modern technology, smaller chips, better plastics, all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's ever so slightly lighter. The buttons feel just as responsive as the other one. The only thing that is a little bit different in terms of the button pressing is the start and select buttons maybe feel a little bit spongier, but honestly, that could just be because this is brand new out of the box. So, you know, that's a thing. There's also another thing we need to talk about, and that is cable length. This is the original. You can sort of see that there's a lot of cable here. There's a lot of cable. I think it's about 10 foot long. You know, I should probably measure it, but I've already started recording. I'll just put a measurement down here somewhere saying how long. This is the original. It's pretty long. This is the new one. Considerably less cable, yes. This is again very much like the NES Mini, not a very long cable. Thankfully, it is longer. It's not the 3-foot monstrosity we had before, but even then I'd say even, you know, sort of, well, it's this length. I'll put it down here for this one. That's how long this one is. One last thing I want to point out is that the L and R buttons on the original, as you can see here, they look like L and R, and they are printed on, and you can see there through the little reflection of the light on the R there that they are indeed shiny. New one, they're actually molded in. Sorry, they're not printed in at all. They're molded in entirely, and to be honest, I kind of prefer this. I mean, it's not as clear which is L and which is R at a glance, but, you know, when you're actually playing, I mean, L is left and R is right. And on the back, we've got some different gubbins. It says Nintendo Super NES PAL controller on this one, and this one just says Nintendo model CLV202 made in China. That's probably the least interesting thing. they also have different plugs. As ridiculous as it sounds to sort of compare the two and say which one I prefer, blah, 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 because they're arguably for two different systems, I do have to say I think I prefer the new one. I think that, you know, time has been generous and technology has come on a long way so that even, you know, something as basic and simple as this can be improved upon. And I really like it. It's slightly more lightweight, a little bit grippier due to that matte finish. Yeah, I like it. I suppose all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching what is probably the biggest stretch for a video topic I think I've ever had to tackle, but you know what? I thought it was interesting, and I thought maybe you'd think it was interesting, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you do a ridiculous comparison of two extremely similar subscribe buttons, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.